Don't know where it's recording to, but it's recording to somewhere.
As long as it records.
Look at that. Look at having a beefy CPU. It's using literally like between 10 and 13%. It's not even taxing it. It's like, yeah, I'll record you.
Nice. Shit. The games. Oh, what did you name it, Chant? It'd be like G something, wouldn't it?
Why don't we just talk about what we've been playing first? Because that's the easy one to get started.
It's all right. I've got it. Yeah, cool. So I guess we're just going to do the run. Hi, welcome to Let's Talk Games kind of thing. My name's Uncle Chant, that whole deal.
I mean, you don't have to do that for the purpose of this, but nominally, yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yep. All right, cool. We'll just pretend we did it then. All right.
Yeah.
Gents, let's talk about what we've been playing lately. I'm going to start off because we've already touched on it a little bit. But we all know Sonic the Hedgehog came out recently with a film. And I enjoyed the film. It's not exactly what I wanted, but I enjoyed it. And there was massive sales going on. I shot the bullets, all of them, all over the Sonic games off Xbox. They're all like $2 each, or maximum of $10 for some of the modern games. So I went back and bought all the backwards compatible games that are on Xbox. I was like, all right, this is a good times any. My hype is real. So the last couple of weeks, I went through Sonic Generations again, and then I went through this really crap game, Sonic Fighters or whatever it's called. Really bad. Back on Sega Saturn, I think. Just low polygon fighting things. It's just ridiculous. I turned that off real quick.
Didn't even know Sonic had a fighting game. Since when did Sonic have a fighting game?
There's a reason why nobody knows.
True.
Because it's fucking shit. But today I have a really good day today. Like I booted up Sonic 1, and thank God for save states. Like, it's been a while since I've played these games, and the old platformers, you take it for granted and how actually difficult they are. They're unforgiving at some points, particularly when you're like me. I want to get all the Chaos Emeralds. If you're just playing on your cartridge, you got to do it straight away, or you just miss the opportunity to get it, and then you're just stuffed. You got to reset. But save states, luckily, they're a feature on these Xbox games. So I was saving frequently. Every time I had 50 rings, I would make a save and then jump into the special stage and do all the stuff. So I've had a good afternoon today of going back through some massive nostalgia trips and just realizing how good those games are. Like, I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, Sonic's never been good," but I don't agree with that. Like, I like Sonic. He's been one of my major reasons why I started playing games in the first place back when I was young. And going through these two games today, they're shorter than I remember, which is good now because I don't want to be sitting there playing a Sonic game for 8 hours. I thought I'd knocked over Sonic 1 in like an hour, and that was extended because of retrying these bonus levels, trying to get the Chaos Emeralds. And Sonic 2 in particular, the special stages there are even more unforgiving. I don't know if you guys have played those ones to know even what the hell I'm talking about as far as how difficult the special stages are. But have you even played these old Sonic games? You got?
Yeah, I grew up on them. Like,
I think
Sonic 1 and 2.
I did. I played probably in the 90s, and that was the last time I ever played a Sonic game.
Cool.
That was it.
The special stages in Sonic 1 are like a massive acid trip. Like you're in some weird world with all these 3D objects like transforming in the background. You're just floating around this space, bumping around. But those ones are fine, easy. The one that I had a problem with is in Sonic 2 is you're going down like this half pipe race course kind of thing, and you're behind Sonic and you can just move around the loop. And you've got to avoid all the bombs and get your coins, and you need to get a certain amount of coins before you can progress to the next part. And if you get hit once, you may as well just turn the game off. And that's why I was saying thank God for save states, because you just save before the course starts. If you get hit, just load the save up again and just try to get your way through and just keep saving. That's the only way I got through it today. I know it's cheating as hell, but I don't give a shit. So within the first 2 levels, I already unlocked all the Chaos Emeralds and had Supersonic ready to go. So I just cruised for the rest of the game, like totally invulnerable, just cruising through Supersonic. It was great. I had a really good time this afternoon. Doesn't take much to humour me these days, but yeah, that was really great. And so yeah, now I'm looking at the Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles. Even digitally now, you can combine the 2 games, whereas back in the day, you had to get like the games are made as one game, but they split them into 2 because of production reasons. So the Sonic and Knuckles had a special cartridge that was made, so you can put Sonic 3 on top, and you can play through as they were originally intended. But this one does the ability digitally, so I've never done that before. I've never played through Sonic 3 and Knuckles as a full game, so I'm looking forward to doing that next weekend, just sitting down for an afternoon and getting through, unlocking all the emeralds and finishing that game properly. So it's been really cool. It's been something I've been meaning to do for a while. And yeah, Jamie, you and I were talking before we started. You're like, oh, you're really just playing all the games now, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. Like it's just open the floodgates. I've smashed like 8 games recently, you know, after months of not really playing anything. So it's been great. I've been having a really good time.
It's good to hear that you're getting back into it. Like you went through a bit of a drought there, and you've had some experiences this week as well. I think with you did Inside and Senua in 1 week, right?
Yeah. So oh god, that was something else.
I wish I could play those 2 games for the first time again, because I had when I finished those games, I was just ecstatic after playing them. I was like, this is so cool. And just smaller budget ones, but they made like I don't think Inside, I don't think I've ever played a game with such smoother animation, just going from one state to another, whether you're falling down, standing up, climbing, like just one thing to another. I was so impressed playing that game. And Senua is just an experiential game, especially with the headphones, playing on headphones. It's just awesome. Absolutely awesome.
Agreed.
Yeah, I've been playing back through it with like full DTS surround sound, like in a headset, and it's trippy. Like I've only been able to go through sort of half an hour, 40 minutes at once, because it just like I play late at night, so like it's wigging me out a little bit, and it's like that'll do for now. I'll come back to this again in a couple of days and do the next little bit, because my first experience with Senua was handheld, so. Yeah, not too happy about that. Although it was still a great experience. But so what have you been playing, Dan?
Well, I'm probably in the state where Chunt was maybe a month or so ago, where I'm not playing much. I have and I reckon this is your kryptonite, which is Destiny for you guys, where you just jump on to play. Mine's 2K. Mine's NBA 2K.
Nice.
Which I think a little while ago when PlayStation released all those details about how long you played particular games for over the course of 2019, and NBA was just up there. So that's always my weekly thing. Recently I played A Plague Tale: Innocence.
How was that? Because I've downloaded it and I haven't started it yet.
It was really cool. It's one of those things where when you get the game after the fact, and people have talked about it so much that it's just going to be overhyped. So you got to kind of like bring it back. Like the idea that, it won Best Narrative, I was like, I'll give it to it. But it does definitely get really interesting towards the end. Like there is a shift in the game where you're like, oh fuck, all these different mechanics are slowly coming together and you're using them all at once, whereas it kind of focuses one at a time and you don't know why. But no, I had a really good time with it. I definitely play more of these games. And after playing it made me think of like games like this and Hellblade are in kind of that same vein, whether they're shorter experiences, storytelling, and just we're operating on a few mechanics and getting those mechanics right. So I played that recently, and then my year is going to be mostly made up of games to try and finish like a bigger game a month. So games like Detroit, games like Jedi Fallen Order, Nier Automata, and then the new releases. But yeah, that's what I've been following. And yes, I will download Destiny soon. I promise.
Yeah. When Chunt's finished
There it
his PC disaster after the plug and pay mishaps of putting a relatively, mid-range graphics card into a 5-year-old rig and just
It's
blowing
PC
it up
going mad, I
consistently.
tell you.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
But the sooner you can do that, the better. John and Dan, then you can download and we can all just hang together. That game is meant to be played with mates. Like, it just is. You just find yourself like Chunt and I'll just literally put the world to right and chat absolute nonsense whilst we're running around shooting aliens in the face for sometimes what can be 8 or 9 hours at a go, and then we go, shit, we should probably go to bed. It is one of those things. I've been playing a couple of different bits. Destiny, obviously. Although Dan, your NBA hours eclipse my Destiny hours, which is that's a problem, mate. That's not your
Really?
go-to game. That's an issue. that's a borderline addiction. So yeah, I've been playing a little bit of Destiny. I keep dipping in and out of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Nice.
The moment to moment is so arcadey and just like it doesn't take much thought, but then I'm not too invested in the franchise where I can't put it down. So yeah, it's one of those things. It's like in a little bit, out a little bit. I started Rage 2. It's part of Game Pass on PC. So I was like, oh, that's something different to just shoot things in the face with. The humor's quite funny. I think it does lean itself very, very Australian, which is no problem for me, having lived there for such a long period of time. But it's good fun. Again, it's not really something that I'm like, I can't wait to pick back up, and I can put it back down here and there. As I said, I've been back through Senua a bit, about halfway back through that. It's nice playing it on a better setup than what I did. And other than those, I don't think there's too much that's been like I'm playing this a lot. Like you said, Dan, it's more okay, so that game you go to that you boot up, for me it's Destiny or FIFA. I'll play a little bit of both here and there. Very much looking forward to having some new stuff to play, to be honest. It's been a bit of a lull period. I don't think nothing's come out where I've gone, I am so invested in this for quite some time now, so we'll see. I knew that was coming. Hopefully the microphone didn't pick it up, just have a random coughing fit. Now I decided to open my mouth and speak. But yeah, more Destiny, new Destiny stuff next week, so that'll give me something to invest in for the coming months, and yeah, we'll see where we go to from there. So what's been happening in terms of things that you're kind of picking up on in the industry? Anything caught your eye, either of you?
Oh, look, all the doom and gloom of the coronavirus is going to put gaming on hold, and all the industries are dropping everything, and it's all apocalypse.
Do we think that could affect the launch dates of the new systems, given that they're manufactured mainly in China?
I reckon Xbox will be right. I think they've been far along. Like Phil Spencer and a bunch of others internally have Series X's for months now.
So do you think they're already well into a production cycle?
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, if they've already got them and it's all locked in, I think they'd be further along than Sony would be, as far as we know. Sony haven't said anything. But I'm just saying, with what we know, what they keep talking about, specs are out there. Internal people have been using an actual unit, for months, including Phil himself. So I think it'll be out. I'm pretty optimistic about it.
Well, do we know? Like, we obviously know Sony's going to be building out of Japan. Do we know where Microsoft build? Like, you obviously get parts from all over, mostly China, which is probably the main effect of all of it. But do we know where Microsoft build their consoles out of?
They're designed in like all of the labels on the boxes and stuff are all designed in Seattle, aren't they?
Yeah, it's always got a Yeah, that's right. It's got the Seattle mark on there.
So I wouldn't imagine they're prototyping there though. I think the prototype will be coming from whatever factory are going to produce the actual units. It'll just be they have a run come off that's that prototype run, and then hopefully that stays locked in and they can move that unit to production.
If anything, I could probably see that there might be like shortages, like the 360 had at launch. There was a period where a run of consoles went out, and then there was a bit of a shortage due to the Red Ring stuff and production issues and all that. I could probably see something similar happening now with this. If anything's going to be held up, they might already have a batch ready to go or whatnot, but there might be a lull afterwards.
Shortages aren't always a bad thing. Like the Wii was designed around having a shortage to make people just keep pre-ordering them because there was so little of them. But we also got to remember that this is such a strange virus that's happening. Like I'm not sure how much you guys are following the sports world, but and you would have heard about this probably, Jamie, being over in the UK. The fact like the sports teams in Italy playing games with no one in the crowd.
Yeah, behind closed doors.
And I think, and there's I think Switzerland's only allowing 1,000 people at events. Like if it's a sports game or whatever event, you only allowed a maximum of 1,000 people. So you just don't know how the virus is affecting all these different industries in what way. And yeah, if the consoles get delayed, they get delayed. I don't see how it affects it, and we're probably going to talk about this a lot in this year, but the way Microsoft are positioning themselves and the way Sony are positioning themselves, their success, what they deem as success, are two totally different styles.
Yeah.
Like Sony is going to want to sell the consoles. Microsoft want to get your active players or your monthly subscriptions per se.
They want the service.
Yeah.
Speaking of services, what do you reckon if they do delay the Series X? They're just like, all right, let's just push xCloud ahead so we have something. It wouldn't surprise me. Even if the infrastructure might not be there, they might just open up the beta.
It's more how a delay would affect games, I think. You think, like they've obviously got a door that they want. Well, Halo, for instance, is coming out with the Series X. So do you go, oh, wait, we'll still push that out in fall because it can go onto One X and xCloud and all the rest of it and can be played on any of the Xbox machines, but then you lose that launch title should your console, shift a little bit. I don't think they're gonna drop. I think if you think back to the PS4 and Xbox One, pre-orders for that sold out. They sold out stupid. Like both were sold out at launch. And pre-orders were backlogged, especially with the PlayStation 4. Like in Australia, they were ridiculous. I remember trying to put down a pre-order on a PS4, and some dates that were coming back were like February. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, there was the first batch at launch in November. Then they had a smaller batch in December before Christmas, and then the next ones weren't till February or something.
Yeah. So I think that we're just going to see a heightened version of that. I think I don't believe that either are in production yet. I don't think the production runs were probably set to start for either of them until the summer. And then, you've got that first batch ready for whenever they're coming out, October, November time, somewhere around there. And then, as you said, Dan, last time, you had that December run, which I think would have been the next. And then they'll go into full swing production the following year. I think anybody who can get their hands on a couple can probably make a bit of money. Not that I condone scalping. I absolutely hate it. I've experienced being scalped myself in the last few months on event tickets, and it's annoying as anything. But there will be people out there, and you'll see them go up on eBay or other resale sites, and people are making an absolute fortune off them because you just can't get them. That's probably the most likely scenario, and I'd say PlayStation will probably suffer from that more, although it's not really suffering. It creates demand. They seem to suffer more last generation in getting PS4s out, but then that's because the demand was higher. More people wanted them. More people were trying to buy them. So I think we'll see a similar instance to that. There is also the twist in there that there's a chance that I really think that the Series X is coming way before November. I think it's a late September. I think they're going to drop it and just go, yeah, have it now. Have it late September.
Yep.
Here's Master Chief. Go mess about with him for a bit. Oh, Cyberpunk's out now, by the way, as well, and here's your upgraded X version. Then you get...
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
I really do think it could happen.
I think it's October. I think September will be too soon. Also, I'm trying to think of the financial quarters for these things. You would
September will be fine. That's my birthday month. They're going to do it. They'll do it for me.
They already made the decision, mate.
See, I feel like when you have October, November, December, that's that financial quarter. So for Microsoft, all they need to do is release it in that window, and as long as they meet what they're telling their shareholders, I think moving it to September actually just creates this whole thing that we would know about it if it had to come out sooner.
Yeah, well, if that's what I mean by late September. I think what was Cyberpunk's date now? Is it September 20th or something like that? It's the 20-something, isn't it? So you've got September, like that last...
September 17th.
17th, maybe. Still, Avengers got moved to late September. Cyberpunk got moved to late September. If they can capitalize in that couple of weeks, October, in their trailer, the launch, well, not launch trailer, the one they showed at the Game Awards, the kind of when they named the console, the things that were evidently in that trailer were Master Chief, FIFA, and Forza, right? They were the three kind of games that were kind of spinning in the cube background, the art direction.
Yeah.
FIFA also comes out usually last week of September, first week of October. It all seems to me to play and sit in that little area that could hit a sweet spot. The one thing that I think is the outside of it is the Avengers thing. I don't know if they'd get a special upgrade or a version there because the marketing deals with Sony quite obviously. Interesting to see though. But yeah,
I think it's studio to studio, depending on what they do. They might just like Square Enix might be like, we don't want to create new SKUs. So if you're going to let it, because Microsoft's going to have the thing where it will run, but it's really up to the studios like Square Enix to be like, well, what if we want to make another game and sell it separately? Which I don't think with Avengers it will, because of the way that game is being portrayed as a
service,
community service. So it doesn't make sense to do that. But yeah, I think in certain circumstances we need to probably think about when this is. I was just looking at Forza Horizon 4, like when that came out, because I was trying to remember, and that was 2018. That was 28th of September. So we're like right on the edge.
Cusp. That's the area that I see maybe them trying to hit. And I think we spoke about this offline briefly, where it was like, if that is the thing, I could see them then maybe having another first party game stuffed up. And this is obviously all hypothetical and imaginary. Say we do get it last week of September, first week of October. They then have something come December to go, this is our Christmas title, the thing that's coming out holiday time. It's another first party game. You can play this. I'd love for it to be Fable. I don't think it's going to be. I think that's in the bank for next year. No. But that kind of live service conversation takes us to a point that I'd been thinking of quite a lot myself as well during this kind of conversation cycle and news cycle, and that's that a lot of these service-based games are trying to figure out how they're gonna move to next gen. And being massive on the whole Destiny front, they've recently in their patch notes for next week's patch said that they're moving the PS4 and Xbox One versions of the game to have the same UI menu as the PC does, to allow them to update things easier down the line. So is it a case that they're preparing to be able to basically push the PC port for Series X and PS5? Less work if they can push that port, because it's brilliant. It actually runs better than the native version of Destiny 2. So if they can push that out, they just go, yeah, it's if you own it, it's free. all of your licenses come across, because that game, like now, Chunt, as you saw a couple of weeks ago, you can download it on Steam,
Yes.
log in, you'd bought the season pass, and you have access on PC as well. So it comes with you, a bit like that Fortnite model. You can log in anywhere, play anywhere, and your stuff's all there. So something like Destiny, if they can push out a version like that and go, yep, it's free, download it. If you own the content, it comes with you. Have at it. Let's go. Rainbow Six said that they will be there day and date, didn't they? They want to be on the consoles at launch. Siege will have a version available and hopefully contain complete cross-play across all generations, all platforms. Ambitious, but they've said they're going to do it. Whether they charge for that, who knows? Because then what's the difference between this whole... We're assuming that PlayStation will also have back compat. I think they've already mentioned that, PlayStation 4 games will be playable on PlayStation 5. Xbox have committed to that.
Well, they just said backwards compatible. They said backward that, they haven't confirmed how they're doing it. Like, they just said that PlayStation 4 games will be compatible, but that doesn't mean like discs or just if it's
if you own the download or something. Yeah, but that's kind of part and parcel of the point. So all of those people that play and own Rainbow Six Siege, if they're saying there's going to be a version there on launch day of the new consoles, what does that look like? Does that look like, you download a new game? Or is it just the PS4 and Xbox One versions that are maybe uncapped in terms of frame rate? Like, how does that actually translate? Because their model's slightly different. It's not a la Destiny where, anything you own comes with you, you can play it anywhere. It's a different model. So how will that scale up? I think a lot of these games are going to have that problem, and that's where the Avengers conversation comes into it, as you were saying, Dan. Do they have different SKUs of this game, or do they just push it out and go, yeah, look, this is how it is. It's an Xbox One, PS4, PC title, but it will run on the new machines. And do they just take that, or do they actually have an enhanced version that goes out maybe 6 months down the road, which PlayStation absolutely have to do for free? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the PS4 generation, when that started, if you wanted to buy a game, you had to buy a game again if you owned it on PS3 and wanted to play the quote-unquote complete or remastered or whatever edition they were calling it. You had to pay an upgrade fee. That happened, didn't it? Yeah. So like Call of Duty was like, you have to pay a tenner and you can upgrade your PS3 game to the PS4 one.
Yeah, and initially it was like, $10 to just upgrade it, but then Sony went huge this generation on doing remaster. Like your Last of Us got a remaster, God of War 3 got a remaster. They went big on remasters, which I don't think they'll be able to do as many of them unless they do ones that are like Shadow of the Colossus, which I'd never played, and I played 2017 when it came out, and it was great. But yeah, I don't think they would just do remasters for the sake of bringing it over. It's also a different time because you would have had so many people that never played The Last of Us on PlayStation 3, like a lot of people that were playing Xbox, and they would have never got that game. Whereas now with Sony having so many consoles, it's more building on things they've already created. Hence, all the games people keep talking about for Sony upcoming. Last of Us Part 2. What's the God of War sequel going to be? What's Spider-Man 2? Like, it's all Horizon 2. Like, they're all just the sequels that everyone would have played on the PS4 generation, which isn't as exciting to me. I'm actually more interested in games like Ghost of Tsushima that are new. But I think there's going to be less remasters, and therefore Sony will need to find either other games like second parties, or I don't think you can do the upgrade thing like they did at the start of PS4, where it's like, just pay $10 and you'll get the upgrade.
No, but that's the point. They're not going to be able to charge. They're not going to be able to charge for it this year.
The remasters was the issue of the PS3, the way that it's the OS and how it's programmed and how you have to develop for it. It was totally incompatible with the PS4. And a lot of those remasters were around like the mid to late part of the generations. So if they weren't going to do any backwards compatibility. So their only option was to relabel it as a remaster and port it over to the PS. Whereas Xbox is doing totally different with their backwards compatibility program and all that. X upgrades or X enhanced upgrades for the games for free and that, because they're all working around the same similar like Windows based type architecture. It's probably underselling it, but it's probably a bit easier for them to do that rather than trying to make a game made for the cell processor to be compatible with a PS4 on totally different architecture. So I think that kind of stuff's probably going to go away. I don't think we'll see a lot of going forward because a lot of these PS4 and the Xbox Windows architecture, it's all kind of on the same level. And I think now going forward with Jamie's point about PC games getting upgraded and pushed out to consoles, I think I was reading an article the other day of, I wish I had the link for it today, but just to get the name of the person who was saying this. But going forward, it'll be easier to either just make the PC game available to console players and not even have to really just rebrand it as an actual Xbox or a PS4 game or PS5, whatever game. It'll just be, one PC game, label it with the Xbox branding, whatever, and just push it out the digital store. They don't even have to really think about, programming specifically for a console. It's all well above my head, but
the architectures are exactly the same now, and what they're building is based on AMD Ryzen tech. So that is, Dan, that's what's in your PC. Like Chunt, it's what's going to be in your PC, and it's what runs mine. Like Ryzen, AMD's chips they've somehow, who would have ever thought 5-6 years ago that Intel would stop being the chip manufacturer that you thought of when you thought of computers.
Yeah.
Intel in Pentium, right back to Pentium inside, and your i5s and your i7s, and now AMD have just crushed it. So the fact that these machines are being based on that technology and that architecture is only good for the consoles. I do think there's still going to need to be a form of a SKU, because you're going to have to be able to, you can't rely on the uninitiated to control the settings of a console. That's not what the market's for. People want to just plug it in and have a solid experience. They don't want to tinker around with settings and things like that. So I think there will still be, texture and frame rate caps and stuff in place. Okay, you might have similar to what the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X have, where you can choose performance mode or graphics mode, and go, right, I want to unlock the frame rate, and if you've got a capable TV or monitor, you can push more frames, or I want to have this looking the best it can, so I'll play it in 4K rather than a downscaled 1440p or something like that. But yeah, the architectures being so similar now is just going to be a benefit, and a lot of these games that are being brought forward, like you said, John, especially on the Xbox side, like just port the PC version. That's what they're doing back and forth now, even with Game Pass. The Xbox Live architecture sits on top of a PC port of the game, and it functions as if it was an Xbox. Like it's quite incredible. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. We'll see how that all pans out. But one thing that definitely can't happen is
we also got to take into consideration when we have these conversations going forward is there's two sides to it. One is talking about the programmers and the developers making the games and how if it makes it easier going forward, which is a different issue to Sony and Microsoft or Xbox and how they marketed that on their platforms, which is a totally different issue.
100%.
Like one is about making how easy it is to make the games. The other one is how easy is it to market the games and what consoles you can play them on.
Or how money hungry the bloody publishers are. If they're like, well, why would we just put this over? Why don't we just rebrand it as a whole new game? Make double dip.
But that's what I mean. The double dipping thing is the thing that nobody's going to be able to get away with, and the fact that Microsoft have come out and set that precedent and were backed immediately by CD Projekt, that can't happen this gen now. For a fact that there was the corporate side of video games sat there going, this is going to be great. Like someone buys Avengers on like September or whatever it comes out, and then all of a sudden there's an enhanced version 2 months later on PS5 and we charge full whack again. Or you can pay for the upgrade and it's $10-$20 like last generation, but you're not getting away with that now. They set the precedent and going, you should never have to buy the same game twice.
Will gaming prices go
within
up?
Our ecosystem. I think game prices should go up. I mean, I know that they're already fairly expensive, but in terms of what we've been paying for games for so long, it needs to. It absolutely needs to. What would you rather have? Would you rather spend $10 more, £10 more for me on a game, and then not be harassed by microtransactions every time you turn the game on, or do you still want the microtransactions to be there? Like, pick and choose your battles. Like, the financial models of how games are going to work, I think this generation they will change, because loot boxes are they're not going to be a thing anymore. You can't get away with it. The laws and the way that businesses are looking at them, you're not going to be able to do it for much longer.
So here's a question. So let's say you get a PlayStation 5 and you see that Horizon 2 is also going to be released on PlayStation 4 and also PS5.
Will it though?
The PS4 game is $90 and the PS5 version is $100, but you get the updated textures and everything. But if you buy the PlayStation 4 version and play it on the PS5, you're just not going to get those updated textures. Do you do that way? And what if someone's like, well, now I want the updated textures. Do I then need to pay extra money for that?
Buy a texture pack. You're not going to get away with it. They're not going to get away with it, because that's the exact thing that Microsoft have already said. This isn't happening. Yeah. You know what I mean? You pay for the game, right? You've got the game. Whichever area of our ecosystem you want to play in, be that Xbox, PC, or Xbox Series, the new consoles, you will get the best version for your platform. And PlayStation are going to just have to fall in line with that, because you can't nickel and dime people anymore, I don't think. I think they've set that. That's what I'm saying. That precedent's been set, and how it pans out, we'll see. There's all these rumors about patents being filed about artificial intelligence being able to like skim us for even more money. So I think that might be something to keep an eye on going into the next generation. But that's probably a conversation for another day. So probably just like a last thing to finish on for this chat, and this falls nicely into it, like what we was just talking about. What are we excited to actually play this year? Chunt, start with you.
I have a list actually prepared earlier.
Is it on the list?
Yeah, I've got. All right, so we'll go from March onwards, shall we? Because that's where we're at. All right, Ori, it's just come out, or it's coming out March 11th on Game Pass. Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
I know what I'm playing tonight.
What's that?
Oh no, Ori. Not tonight. Sorry, I got my dates wrong. I didn't realize that was so soon.
No.
Ori, it's come out of nowhere.
Yeah. Doom Eternal March 20. I'm gonna finish Doom 2016 before I do that though. Bleeding Edge, I'm keen to give that a go. That's end of the month and 24th. Then you've got usual Cyberpunk and Avengers in September, and then still TBA Battletoads. I want to play that and Halo Infinite, and whenever that Outriders game comes out, if that's this year, that's kind of my list from March onwards that I'm keen to look forward to.
Dan?
Well, I got the obvious ones in Last of Us Part 2, which is the end of May, and then Ghost of Tsushima at the end of June.
New trailer.
They're the must plays. Now, Cyberpunk interests me, but I'm not sold on Cyberpunk yet.
Get out. Leave.
Did you watch the gameplay trailer where they did like 50 minutes playing the game?
I did, but I also played Witcher 3, and I liked Witcher 3, but I had to stop Witcher 3 because you start the game, you see a question mark pop up, and you're like, this is great. There's a little side quest. I'll go do this side quest. Then you're like, then you start to ride down the road, and you go, here's another question. I'll go do this question. I'll just jump on there. Then you finish that one, you jump on the road, you're like, you know what? I've done 2 side quests. Let's start the story. All right. And now I'm going to head to the story. And then you go fucking just bang, 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 bang. I'm like, this is just too much. I've never played a Witcher game before, and they're just throwing all this shit at me. And
that's an RPG, Dan. That's what an RPG does. It distracts you with side quests.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Thanks, Dan. I'm just about to play that. I'm 2 games away from playing that. Thank you.
Good luck. Enjoy your 200 hours. But I really like the game, and that year I was like, this is going to win Game of the Year. I understand. I just can't do it. I just don't, just can't do it. So with Cyberpunk, it's probably more up my alley because it looks like they're dealing more with verticality than just open world. Like there will still be different areas you drive through to, but it's more, there will be buildings that you go to and do missions in and stuff. And it's not just, I don't know. I have a feeling it'll be more constant, but I need them to show me that it's not going to be as constant as The Witcher was. And you know, now I'm also, like you guys, giant comic book nerd, but Avengers worries me. I don't know what to expect out of that game. I don't know. The game hasn't told me what it wants to be.
Yeah.
Like it's doing this thing where it's
Other than a live service.
yeah, but they don't want to say live service at all. They're trying to be like, hey, you people that like playing single player games, come play our game. You can play it on your own, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Also, play with all your friends. I'm like, that's not the same thing. Those are two different things.
It's not the same thing. Getting mixed messages.
So the stuff like that, so I'm wary on. There's games that I am keeping an eye on, like Iron Man VR, on PlayStation VR. I'm curious to get into that, but I'll probably wait and see. And those are kind of the notables until probably after June when we start hearing more about, your fall games, if you're speaking American terms, and PlayStation 5 launch games and things like that. But I'm keeping an eye out. But yeah, this year is going to be like, let's do a cap off to this generation and finish off some of the more notable ones.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've all got that problem. They're like, I need to go back and finish this. Like you said, Dan, Detroit, I wanted to play it for so long. It came to PC. I was like, amazing. Played like the first hour and a half and haven't touched it since. Mainly because my character clipped through the floor and I was like, fuck this. I'm turning it off.
Well, I started playing it with a girlfriend and she's like, I'll play this with you. And then I was like, can we play? No. Can we play? No. Can we play? No. And then I was like,
finding the time and the desire to actually want to play.
A year and a half. Can we play it? She's like, you should have just played it without me. I'm like, well, fuck.
Yeah. Having that same issue with season 2 of Altered Carbon at the moment. Oh, let's watch another episode. I'm not in the mood. I'm just binging Gotham constantly. For me, I think Cyberpunk is the next thing. It's like, I can't wait to play that. It's now much later than it was going to be. I don't think I've actually got anything between now and September that I'm like, I absolutely have to play this. I know obviously Last of Us 2 comes out there, but, unpopular opinion, I didn't really rate what we played of the first one. Nothing. I know, Dan, you tried to swing me on it, and I was like, we played, 2 hours? And I was like, yeah, it's not, hooks are not in. I get it. I get why people enjoy it, but I just couldn't stick with it. Avengers, Cyberpunk. I'm interested to see if the new consoles do something new with FIFA, because the fact that it was highlighted in that kind of sizzle reel for the Series X, and I remember back to the last generation starting, the FIFA games were one of the few that actually came to new generations with new technology. They had the Ignite engine at the time, I think it was, before they moved to Frostbite, and that was different. It was like, oh, this is a next gen experience. So I'm quite keen to see what they do there. Although I don't understand how they're going to make me purchase it over the PC version, which is an internal struggle that I've been thinking about a lot with a lot of these games. Cyberpunk, Avengers, where do I buy it?
Yeah.
NBA 2K did the same thing, where the PS4 versions, they released 2K13, I think it was, released on a new engine just for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and they still released a 2K13 version on the old consoles, but it was on the old engine.
Yeah,
so there was
like
actually totally different. There were actually totally different game modes on both. But yeah, so I'm curious, even with 2K coming out, and that normally comes out in October, so right around the time we're talking about with these games, what they do with that as well.
Yeah, the sports games are usually the ones that get away with that, aren't they? See what happens. But past there, you're getting into next gen territory. So Halo, obviously, again, where I play that, who knows? And this is a massive dilemma, because having a capable PC these days eradicates most of the need to own an Xbox, because all the exclusives are coming to Game Pass on PC. And PlayStation, we don't really know what they're doing yet, so there's nothing else really. I'm interested in Godfall. That looks up my street.
Yeah.
They're calling it a looter slasher rather than a looter shooter, which seems quite interesting. But apparently that's only a console exclusive. There's rumors that it's also coming to PC and not just PlayStation. So again, another one that we'll kind of address at the time. I love the art style and stuff that we've seen so far for that. It looks pretty neat.
Awesome, that trailer.
I'm pretty sure it did say that it was going to PC. It was just in terms of consoles, it was just
it's also
PlayStation
whether
5.
it's a timed exclusive even for PC. There's some murmur it's not been confirmed if it's day and date on PC or if it's going to be later down the line. So
I think
who
you'll
knows?
see PlayStation play a little bit more friendly with PC releases.
Yeah, considering they're going to release Horizon on PC, which has got everybody super butthurt. But don't know why.
But they've also said that it's coming to Microsoft Windows. Yeah, Godfall, Microsoft Windows.
Is it? Oh, Windows.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
yeah, it's not going to go to Xbox. It's a console exclusive. So you just have to play it on your PC, John.
but that
True.
also just tells me that it's going to come to Xbox One at a later date. That's all that tells me, because you wouldn't put it on Microsoft Windows if you were trying to keep it away from the ecosystem.
Yeah,
So-
but just in terms of saying Microsoft Windows, they're not saying whether it's going on the Epic Store or Steam or where it's going. Windows is just the platform, isn't it? So it'll be who it comes to. It'll probably be Epic, knowing the relationship they've got with the other Sony games. So like Death Stranding, Detroit, Heavy Rain, they're all on the Epic Store. So we'll see. But yeah, basically those types of games, we should all just play them on PC, because then we can all play them together. PC Master
And
Race.
I'm not on my couch, man.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
on
certain
my
games you
couch.
don't want to be on your couch for. You don't want to be on your couch for stuff like
I
that.
haven't found one yet.
You want to be invested. You want to be chilling back in that chair and being like, getting a conversation going. But that should bring us to the end of this episode 0, I think. Don't know if there's anything else anybody had in mind to touch on. Good solid 50 minutes episode 0 run.
Yeah.
Zero issue.
Kid
no,
stayed
good.
asleep.
Yeah, I heard him start coughing about 5 minutes ago, so I was like, yeah, we need to wrap this up. So I will stop the record there.